Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach, the ultimate performance EV. Imagine a Porsche that can launch harder than many supercars, corner with incredible precision, and deliver the instant acceleration of an electric powertrain while still feeling unmistakably like a Porsche. This is where the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach enters the picture. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is not simply another electric sports sedan. It represents one of Porsche's most extreme approaches to electric performance, combining brutal acceleration, motorsport-inspired engineering, advanced aerodynamics, lightweight construction, and the kind of chassis technology normally associated with high-performance track cars. From the first moment you see it, the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach gives you the impression that it was designed with one goal in mind: speed. The body is low, wide, and aggressive, with an aerodynamic shape that immediately separates it from a normal Taycan. The front end looks focused and purposeful, while the sculpted surfaces help guide air around the car. The large air intakes, aerodynamic details, performance-focused wheels, and low stance all contribute to the visual character of this machine. But the real story begins when you look beyond the styling. This car was developed to demonstrate what Porsche believes an electric performance car can become. The Turbo GT badge already tells you that this is sitting at the very top of the Taycan performance family, while the Weissach package takes the concept even further by concentrating on weight reduction and track-focused performance. Weissach is a name Porsche enthusiasts know very well. The Weissach philosophy is about removing unnecessary weight, optimizing aerodynamics, and turning a fast Porsche into an even more focused machine. On the Taycan Turbo GT, that philosophy changes the character of the vehicle. Instead of simply adding more luxury equipment and making the car heavier, Porsche went in the opposite direction. Less weight, more performance, more focus, more connection between the driver and the road. And that is exactly what makes the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach so fascinating. At the heart of the car is a high-performance electric powertrain designed to deliver astonishing levels of acceleration. Electric motors have a major advantage over traditional combustion engines because maximum torque can arrive almost immediately. There is no need to wait for a turbocharger to spool, no long gearshift sequence, and no traditional climb through an engine's rev range before the car reaches its strongest acceleration. You simply press the accelerator, and the Taycan responds. Hard, very hard. The Turbo GT Weissach can produce well over 1,000 horsepower under the right conditions, depending on the performance mode and launch control strategy. That places this Porsche in a completely different category from ordinary electric vehicles. Acceleration becomes one of the defining experiences. The car can launch from a standstill to 60 miles per hour in roughly 2 seconds, depending on configuration and conditions, putting it firmly into supercar and hypercar territory. And that is one of the most remarkable things about the Taycan. It does not look like a tiny exotic 2-seat supercar. It is a 4-door Porsche. You can have a practical cabin, comfortable seating, luggage space, and everyday usability, yet still experience acceleration that can overwhelm your senses. The first launch is likely to be unforgettable. You sit inside, you select the appropriate performance setting, you press the accelerator, and almost instantly, the world outside begins moving toward you at an incredible rate. There is no dramatic engine roar building through the rev range. Instead, there is an immediate surge of electric power accompanied by the intense sound of the tires working against the road. Your body is pushed firmly into the seat. The scenery becomes a blur, and within seconds, the car is already traveling at speeds that demand serious attention. But straight-line acceleration is only part of the story. Porsche has always been obsessed with handling. That philosophy remains extremely important with the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach. This is not an electric car designed simply to win acceleration tests. It is designed to attack corners. The chassis has been engineered around performance, with advanced suspension technology, sophisticated electronic control systems, powerful brakes, and carefully tuned aerodynamics working together. The result is a car that attempts to combine the instant acceleration of an EV with the steering precision expected from a Porsche. One of the biggest challenges with electric performance cars is weight. Large battery packs can be extremely heavy. More battery capacity can mean more range, but additional weight can affect braking, cornering, tire performance, and overall agility. Porsche understands this problem. That is why the Weissach package focuses heavily on reducing weight. The interior can be simplified compared with more luxurious Taycan configuration, while lightweight materials are used in strategic areas. Carbon fiber components contribute to the performance-focused appearance, while also helping reduce mass. Even small weight reductions matter when the objective is maximum track performance. Every kilogram removed can improve acceleration, braking, direction changes, and overall responsiveness. The Weissach version therefore feels like a Taycan that has been sharpened. The visual details also communicate this philosophy. The car sits low. The wheels are large and purposeful. The aerodynamic elements look functional rather than decorative. The rear section is especially dramatic. A large rear spoiler helps generate aerodynamic performance and gives the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach a much more aggressive appearance. At high speeds, aerodynamic stability becomes increasingly important. A powerful car is easy to make fast in a straight line. Making it stable when traveling extremely fast through corners is much harder. That is where Porsche's aerodynamic development becomes important. Air management is critical. The front splitter underbody, side surfaces, rear diffuser, and rear spoiler all contribute to controlling airflow. The goal is not simply to make the car look aggressive. The goal is to make the car remain planted. When you are approaching a high-speed corner, you want confidence. You want the steering to respond precisely. You want the tires to maintain contact with the road. And you want the body to remain controlled rather than floating or becoming unsettled. That is what separates a true performance car from a vehicle that simply has a huge horsepower number. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is built around this principle. The suspension is another major part of the experience. Porsche offers advanced adaptive suspension technology designed to respond to changing driving conditions. For everyday driving, the car can remain controlled and composed. But when you move into a more aggressive driving mode, the character changes. The suspension becomes more focused. The steering feels sharper. The powertrain becomes more aggressive. The car starts communicating that it wants to be driven harder. And this is where the Taycan becomes particularly interesting. Despite being an electric vehicle, it still tries to preserve the emotional character that people associate with Porsche, because performance is not only about numbers, it is about feeling. A fast car should make you want to drive it. A great sports car should make you look for the next corner. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach attempts to create that experience without relying on a traditional gasoline engine. Inside the cabin, you get a completely different environment from a classic Porsche sports car. The dashboard is modern and digital. Multiple displays provide information about the car, navigation, performance, battery status, and driving systems. But the cabin still carries Porsche's recognizable design philosophy. The driver sits low. The steering wheel feels performance-oriented. The seating position is designed to provide a strong connection with the vehicle. And in the Weissach version, the focus becomes even more obvious. Lightweight performance seats help keep the driver firmly positioned during aggressive cornering. Carbon fiber details reinforce the motorsport-inspired character. The cabin does not try to hide the fact that this is a serious performance machine. At the same time, one of the Taycan's greatest strengths remains its ability to combine performance with everyday usability. You can drive a Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach on a normal road. You can take it through a city. You can drive it on a highway. You can use it for longer journeys. And then, when the opportunity appears, you can take it to a track and explore what it is really capable of. That dual personality is one of the reasons the Taycan has become such an important model for Porsche. It demonstrates that an electric vehicle does not necessarily have to feel like an appliance. It can be dramatic. It can be emotional. It can be extremely fast. And it can still feel like a driver's car. The battery is another critical part of the equation. High-performance electric vehicles require an enormous amount of energy when the driver demands maximum power. During hard acceleration, the motors can consume huge amounts of electrical energy in a very short period. During aggressive driving, the battery and motors also generate substantial heat. This means thermal management becomes essential. Porsche has invested heavily in the Taycan's battery and powertrain cooling systems. The car has to manage temperature carefully so that performance can remain consistent. This is especially important on a racetrack. One spectacular acceleration run is easy. Repeating high-performance acceleration and hard braking over multiple laps is much more difficult. The battery, motors, brakes, tires, and cooling systems all have to work together. That is why engineering a performance EV is about much more than installing a powerful motor. It is about managing energy. It is about managing heat. It is about managing weight. It is about managing traction. And it is about making all of those systems communicate with each other in milliseconds. The Taycan's all-wheel drive configuration also plays a major role. With electric motors controlling power delivery extremely quickly, Porsche can distribute torque between the axles in a highly precise manner. This helps the car launch with tremendous traction. Instead of simply spinning the tires, the system can deliver the available power in a controlled way. The result is spectacular acceleration, but all-wheel drive also helps when exiting corners. As you begin to accelerate out of a turn, the vehicle can manage the available torque to maintain grip and stability. That is a major advantage for a high-performance EV. The driver can concentrate more on steering and braking while the electronic systems work continuously in the background. The braking system is equally important. If you can accelerate this quickly, you need equally serious braking capability. Porsche equips the Turbo GT with a performance-focused braking system designed to handle repeated high-speed deceleration. The brakes need to convert enormous amounts of kinetic energy into heat. And once again, thermal management becomes critical. The car needs to stop quickly, repeatedly, and consistently. For a track-focused vehicle, brake performance can be just as important as horsepower. Imagine accelerating out of one corner and reaching an extremely high speed before approaching the next braking zone. The driver needs confidence that the brakes will respond immediately. The pedal needs to feel precise. The car needs to remain stable. And the tires need to maintain enough grip to transfer that braking force into the road. This is where the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach becomes more than a horsepower machine. Every component has a job. Every system contributes to the overall performance. The tires are another important part of the package. High-performance tires are essential because all the power in the world means nothing if the tires cannot transfer to the pavement. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach uses performance-focused wheel and tire combinations designed around grip and handling. The wheels themselves are also part of the visual identity. Large performance wheels fill the wheel arches and give the car an aggressive stance. From the side, the Taycan has a sleek silhouette. The roofline flows toward the rear in a way that gives the car a coupe-like appearance while maintaining four-door practicality. This is one of the Taycan's most attractive design features. It does not look like a traditional large sedan. It looks lower, wider, and more athletic. The front lights create a recognizable Porsche identity. The headlights sit high and narrow, giving the car a futuristic appearance. The lighting technology is designed not only for visibility, but also to create a distinctive signature. At night, the Taycan can look particularly dramatic. The rear lighting is equally recognizable. A continuous light strip stretches across the rear of the car, visually connecting the two sides. This has become an important element of modern Porsche design. The result is a car that can be recognized from a distance. And then you notice the Turbo GT details. This is not a regular Taycan. It is something much more serious. The Weissach package takes the visual aggression even further. Carbon fiber components, aerodynamic details, special badging, performance wheels, and the large rear wing immediately communicate the purpose of the car. It looks like a machine that belongs at a racetrack. But there's another interesting part of the Taycan story. This car represents a major change in how we think about performance. For decades, the sound of a high-performance Porsche was closely connected to its identity. Flat-six engines, turbocharged engines, high revs, exhaust systems, mechanical noise. The Taycan creates emotion differently. Its soundtrack comes from electric motors, tires, wind, and Porsche's artificial performance sound. Some enthusiasts will always prefer the sound of a gasoline engine, and that is understandable. But the Taycan offers something a combustion engine cannot easily reproduce. Immediate response. There is almost no waiting. You press the accelerator and the car reacts. The sensation can be almost surreal. A car this large can move with the urgency of a lightweight supercar. And the experience is remarkably smooth. There is no traditional transmission shifting through multiple gears during acceleration. Instead, the power delivery is incredibly direct. The Taycan does use a 2-speed transmission on the rear axle, which helps combine strong launch performance with high-speed efficiency and capability. This is another example of Porsche engineering an electric car specifically for performance rather than simply adapting an existing system. The charging experience is also important. A high-performance EV needs fast charging because owners do not want to spend long periods waiting when they're traveling. The Taycan platform has been developed with high-voltage charging technology that can deliver very fast charging under suitable conditions. Actual charging speed depends on factors such as battery temperature, charger capability, state of charge, and environmental conditions. But the important point is that Porsche has treated charging as part of the performance experience. A fast car is only useful if you can keep it ready to drive. For road trips, charging infrastructure remains an important consideration. The Taycan can travel significant distances on a full charge, but range depends heavily on driving style. If you drive gently on a highway, energy consumption can remain relatively controlled. If you repeatedly launch the car and drive aggressively, energy consumption rises dramatically. That is simply physics. Huge amounts of acceleration require huge amounts of energy, and the Turbo GT Weissach is designed to give you access to that energy whenever you want it. This creates an interesting contrast. You can drive it calmly and quietly through traffic. Then you can reach an open road and discover an entirely different personality. That transformation is one of the defining features of electric performance vehicles. There is no need to build engine revs. There is no need to downshift several gears. The performance is always waiting. The steering is also crucial. Porsche has spent decades developing steering systems that communicate clearly with the driver. The Taycan continues this philosophy. The steering response is designed to feel immediate and precise. At high speeds, small steering inputs can produce significant changes in direction. That means precision matters. You want the front end to respond exactly as expected. You want to feel confident placing the car on the road. And you want the chassis to follow your inputs without unnecessary movement. This is where Porsche's experience becomes obvious. The company has built performance cars for generations. The Taycan is different because its power source is electric, but the underlying philosophy remains recognizable. Driver confidence, precision, balance, performance, control. The Weissach version pushes those ideas even further. Weight reduction can make the car feel more agile. Aerodynamic improvements can increase stability. Performance suspension can improve body control. High-performance tires can increase grip. And the powerful electric drivetrain provides explosive acceleration. Together, these elements create a very different kind of Porsche. Now imagine taking the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach onto a racetrack. You approach the first corner. The car is already carrying serious speed. You brake hard. The nose settles. The tires grip. The steering input begins. The car rotates into corner. You reach the apex. Then you press the accelerator. Instant power. The rear axle delivers torque. The all-wheel drive system manages traction. The car pushes forward. You are immediately preparing for the next corner. This sequence repeats again and again. Acceleration, braking, turning, acceleration. The car becomes a complete system. And that is where performance EVs are becoming increasingly impressive. The technology can react incredibly quickly. Electric torque control can happen much faster than traditional mechanical systems. Software constantly monitors wheel speed, acceleration, steering angle, battery conditions, and other parameters. The result is a car that can make thousands of calculations while you are simply holding the steering wheel. But the best systems remain invisible. You do not want to feel like you are fighting the computers. You want to make the car easier and more rewarding to drive. Porsche's challenge was to make the technology work in the background while preserving the driver-focused experience. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is one of the clearest examples of that philosophy. Of course, a car like this comes with a major price. This is not positioned as an affordable electric vehicle. It sits at the extreme performance end of the Porsche Taycan range. The price can rise significantly with options, especially when you add performance equipment, carbon fiber components, specialized wheels, interior upgrades, and other Porsche options. But buyers considering a Turbo GT Weissach are not necessarily shopping based on value. They are looking for something very specific. They want one of the fastest Porsche production cars available. They want electric performance. They want four-door practicality. They want cutting-edge technology. And they want a car capable of serious track performance. That combination is what makes the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach unusual. There are many electric vehicles that are quick. There are also many sports cars that are fast. But very few cars attempt to combine supercar acceleration, track-focused engineering, luxury, practicality, and electric technology in this exact way. The exterior design also helps communicate that unique position: the low roof, the wide body, the aggressive front, the performance wheels, the aerodynamic elements, the dramatic rear wing, the continuous rear light. Every part contributes to the personality. This is a Porsche that does not need to shout. It simply looks serious. And when you see one moving quickly, the design suddenly makes sense. The aerodynamics are not just styling. The low stance is not just styling. The large wheels are not just styling. The rear wing is not just styling. Everything is connected to the mission. Inside, the driver gets an environment that blends technology with performance. The displays can provide information about power consumption, battery status, navigation, performance settings, and vehicle systems. The steering wheel puts key controls close to the driver's hands. The seats are designed to hold you firmly during aggressive driving. And because this is still a Taycan, the cabin can provide a level of comfort and refinement that you would not normally associate with a track-focused machine. That is one of the car's biggest advantages. You can finish a track session and drive home. You do not need a trailer. You do not need to sacrifice all comfort. You do not need to own a separate daily driver simply because your performance car is too extreme. The Taycan can bridge those worlds. It is a performance machine that can still behave like a premium road car. And that raises a fascinating question. Is this the future of the Porsche sports car? Perhaps not completely. Porsche is likely to continue producing different types of performance cars for different customers. Some enthusiasts will always want a combustion engine. Others will embrace electric power. The Taycan proves that Porsche can create an EV without abandoning its performance identity. And the Turbo GT Weissach takes that idea to an extreme. This car is not trying to convince you that electric cars are exactly the same as gasoline cars. They are not. Instead, it demonstrates that electric power can create a completely new kind of performance. The acceleration is different. The sound is different. The power delivery is different. The engineering priorities are different. But the objective remains the same. Create a car that makes the driver excited. Create a car that performs. Create a car that makes you want to take the long way home. The Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach does exactly that. It represents a moment when electric technology and traditional sports car engineering meet at the highest level. It is fast enough to challenge supercars. It is advanced enough to feel like a glimpse into the future. It is practical enough to remain usable on normal roads. And it carries the unmistakable personality of Porsche. The most impressive part may not even be the acceleration figure. It may be the fact that Porsche has taken a heavy electric performance platform and worked so extensively on weight, suspension, aerodynamics, braking, cooling, and software to create something that feels genuinely focused. That is the difference between an electric car that is simply powerful and an electric car that has been engineered as a performance machine. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach belongs in the second category. It is not simply about going fast. It is about how the car behaves while going fast. It is about stability. It is about precision. It is about repeatability. It is about confidence. And it is about giving the driver control over an enormous amount of performance. When you look at the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach parked inside a showroom, it can almost seem understated compared with some exotic supercars. But the numbers and engineering tell a different story. This Porsche can deliver acceleration that would have been unimaginable from a four-door luxury vehicle just a few years ago. And unlike many extreme performance cars, it does not need to make compromises in every area to achieve that speed. It can remain refined. It can remain technologically advanced. It can remain comfortable. It can remain practical. Yet underneath all of that is an extremely serious performance machine. The Weissach package is the final reminder of its intentions. This is the Taycan with fewer distractions and more focus. The carbon fiber components, the lightweight approach, the aggressive aerodynamic design, the performance-focused interior, the enormous power, the sophisticated chassis. Everything points in one direction, the racetrack, and that is why the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach deserves attention. It is more than a fast electric sedan. It is a statement from Porsche, a statement that electric technology does not have to mean boring, a statement that electric performance can be emotional, a statement that a battery-powered Porsche can attack corners, launch like a supercar, and deliver precision that enthusiasts expect from the brand. For some people, the biggest attraction will be the acceleration. For others, it will be the handling. Some will love the futuristic technology. Others will appreciate the practicality of having 4 doors and luggage space. And Porsche enthusiasts will probably focus on the Weissach philosophy and the way it transforms the character of the car. Whatever your reason, the Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is difficult to ignore. It represents the extreme end of Porsche's electric performance development. It shows what happens when a manufacturer takes electric power seriously and combines it with decades of motorsport and sports car experience. And as electric technology continues to evolve, cars like this may become the reference point for the next generation of high-performance vehicles. The Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is therefore not simply about the present. It is also a preview of where performance cars could be heading. Instant torque, massive power, advanced software, sophisticated aerodynamics, intelligent all-wheel drive, high-performance braking, fast charging, and a chassis engineered around the driver. Put all of those elements together, and you get one of the most extreme electric Porsches ever created. The road ahead for performance cars is changing rapidly. The question is no longer whether electric cars can be fast. We already know they can. The real question is whether electric cars can deliver the same sense of excitement, precision, and character that enthusiasts expect from legendary sports cars. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is Porsche's answer, and it is an incredibly fast answer. From the moment the accelerator is pressed to the moment you attack a high-speed corner, this car demonstrates what modern electric performance can achieve. It does not replace the traditional Porsche experience. It creates another version of it, a quieter version when you want it, a brutally fast version when you need it, and an extremely focused version when you select the Weissach formula. The Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is therefore best understood not simply as a luxury electric sedan, but as a high-performance engineering project disguised as a 4-door Porsche. It combines technology with emotion, efficiency with extreme power, luxury with motorsport-inspired engineering, and everyday usability with supercar-level performance. That combination is what makes it special. And if the future of Porsche performance looks anything like this, the electric era is going to be very interesting indeed. The Taycan Turbo GT Weissach is here to prove one thing above all else. Electric performance does not have to be ordinary. It can be extreme. It can be precise. It can be beautiful. And it can be unbelievably fast. This is a Porsche Taycan Turbo GT Weissach, one of the most powerful and focused electric performance cars to carry the Porsche badge, and a machine that shows just how far the world of electric performance has already come.